I'm Steve from Polyhedron Collider, and I'm here with the UK Gaming Media Network, and I'm here with Chris from Zycard to talk about his game. First of all, I'll start with the name.
Yes, yeah.
It's Zycard.
It's Zycard, yeah. We've heard G, we've heard Z, we've heard 11. It was a bit of a funny choice when we named it, but Zy is what we've gone for, yeah.
So what is Zycard? What kind of game is it?
Zycard's a strategic card game, I suppose comparable to Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard and those sorts of games. Although we've tried to make it a little bit simpler, and we put a huge amount of work, well our artists put a huge amount of work into the artwork. And we've tried to eliminate the issues that some of those games have with not being able to do something in your turn. So there's options every single turn when you're playing Zy.
Okay. I had a brief go of it last year when you were at the show.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it was the time mechanic.
Yeah.
So instead of mana, you have this time. Can you go for a bit of explanation?
Yes, yeah, you get 10 time a turn, and time pays for everything in the game. It pays for you drawing cards, it pays for you playing your spells, and you can also save up time to use in future turns. So that's sort of part of the options every turn thing that's going on, that you've got this time and you've got so many different ways that you can use it. You've always got things you can think about doing in your turn in terms of strategy.
The artwork is stunning.
Yeah.
And it's quite distinctive as well. It's a very distinctive style.
We're thrilled with the artwork.
How did you go about? Did you always have an artist in mind, or as a friend, or how did you go about finding it?
We contacted a number of artists through online forums and had a lot of people come back with preview work. And Jordan Sayer, who came back with his bit, we were quite happy with him, quite interested in what he was doing. Asked him to do a few more. And it just developed and developed and developed into this really neat style. We were sort of going, originally we said sort of Chinese fantasy, and then it changed a little bit and it sort of became quite arty fantasy, but the project got extended and extended, and he had a lot of time to work on it, and he's just done the most amazing set of stuff for us now that we're really happy with. So.
I mean, it's really smart. I mean, you've got this big image here, it's just really beautiful stuff. The other kind of design thing on it is you've, quite bizarrely, you've got like a rounded corner.
Rounded corner, yeah. It was really controversial actually. We had a lot of people challenge us on the rounded corner. So, isn't it cheaper to do it with a straight edge? And don't you want to just have the standard design? And we said no, we want something a bit unique about our game. And when you're shuffling the cards, sometimes tournaments, if you're going to be really serious about it, people say, oh, you've turned it upside down. Well, rounded corner is supposed to get round that because it stands out if one's the other way up. So it was partly sort of an artistic design, and then partly something to be a bit unique. But generally speaking, this year particularly, the reception about the rounded corner has been tremendously positive. So we're really, really happy with how that's come out.
You mentioned the kind of tournament issue of shuffling the decks.
Yeah.
Is this designed to be a tournament game, is it?
Well, no, it's designed mostly to be a casual game with the starter packs that you buy. And we've tried to make it really balanced so that people can sort of do a game with almost any deck that they've come up with. That said, initially, I think we'll speak about it in a bit, but initially it was designed as a customizable card game, so random packs. Now it's fixed packs. We've still made a small number of random packs, and those are designed for tournaments. So it's sealed, everyone has the same chance of winning. Everyone's got to design their pack at the start, and that was always in the back of my mind. I used to do some pretty serious tournament gaming myself for other branded card games to sort of the pro level, and I always wanted to have that edge to the game if it ever kicked off in a big way.
So what other games were you playing? You say you're a tournament player?
I used to do Magic the Gathering, particularly online.
Okay.
I got my rating over the sort of 1950 mark on that, which was pretty a lot of games, let's say that. And I entered a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, so I understood the rules of it. I never got that far through that. So yeah, that was sort of a bit of my background before I designed this, but that's many years ago now. I'm sort of out of the scene and fully into thinking about Zycard. So.
Now, going to the history of the game, because it was on Kickstarter last year, and you've just briefly alluded to that it was originally designed as a collectible card game.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what was your? It's kind of three questions in one, really. What was the experience of the Kickstarter, and what kind of led you through that design process of going from a CCG with random boosters to a more set deck?
Well, a Kickstarter it's a huge amount of time. I don't think people necessarily realise the amount of work you have to put into promoting a big Kickstarter campaign. And we had a lot of success with people that we met face to face.
Yeah.
But the people on the team had other full-time jobs at the moment, and we just couldn't do enough of that to reach our full target. But one of the bits of feedback we got a lot of people. I think one of the best things about the gaming community is they're very happy to give you feedback about your game. And a lot of people said, we like the idea, but we're worried that we won't necessarily get the card we want unless we buy 20 packs, 30 packs. Please will you release it as set decks? And initially I was really reluctant because I had this idea for tournaments, of random packs for tournaments. And then as someone who's not really in gaming at all, my brother actually came to me and said, well, why don't you just do both? And release set decks for people that want set decks and have some random packs for people that do tournaments. And I said, you know what, that's a good idea, let's do that. And that's what we've run with now, and as we got it manufactured. So
that's cool. So just a brief overview then. You've got, well, these are the 4 set decks here?
Those are 4 set decks.
So these are the 4 basic set decks, yeah. And we'll put them up. So I take it they're going to be themed decks of some description.
They are, yeah.
So what are the themes and what were the inspirations for the themes? I mean, was it a thematic inspiration, or did you come up with the mechanics first?
Well, we came up with the mechanics for the game before we started doing the themes, but then we thought we'd do the 4 elements, and we had fire, earth, water, air, and then we thought, no, that's boring. Everyone knows fire, earth, water, air. Let's just rename them, which might still be the same thing, but there you go. We called it wind, stone, ember, aqua. Wind is sort of your tactical play, by far the hardest to use, lots of sort of strange effects and interesting spells. Stone is solid defense, really high life, low damage. Ember's huge attack, we went for the normal stuff there.
Yeah.
And the aqua is the most balanced and also has some really impressive lasting effects that mean that a player just sort of boosts up all their guys and then outlasts their opponent with these spells.
So at the moment, is it just these 4 box sets are available, is it?
Just those 4 box sets are available. They've each got 50 cards in, 50 completely different cards.
Yeah.
And then those 4 sets of 50 make up the 200, which is the full set. You are allowed to have 3 of any single card in a deck if you want to. So potentially you could buy 3 of each pack, and then every deck under the sun, you could build it. And you wouldn't need any more after that.
So are there any plans to expand it with extra packs, or are you thinking of going the more kind of the route that, say, FFG and AEG are doing with Doomtown, with the kind of set packs and that kind of thing?
Well, we might just leave it with these, because we're happy with the game as it is, and we're happy with the balance of it. That said, we did have some really crazy ideas about combos that require sort of 6 or 7 cards, and cards that make you draw a load, discard a load, draw a load, discard a load. We kept that out of this set because we wanted it to be simple for people to learn.
Yeah.
But if the game really picks up, we've planned Xi Advanced, which is sort of 200 more cards, really advanced strategies and new stuff, and we might release that. Beyond that, there would be nothing more. And I say that as a selling point to players, because people say, am I going to have to keep buying and buying to be involved in the game? No, there's these 200, that might be it. There might be 200 more, but that would definitely be it if that was the case, and then we're done.
Okay, so you mentioned this Xi Advanced. Are there anything else you got in the pipeline after that, or
no? Xi Advanced is it?
Is it?
But Xi Advanced is 200 more cards, and there's a whole plethora of really quite interesting strategies that come out of Xi Advanced, particularly when you start to combine them with these ones. One of the mechanics that we have is that we have celestial cards, and these are almost indestructible except for certain other types of card, the shadow ones and other celestials. Xi Advanced includes some cheaper celestials and some mechanics to get them into play more easily, but also new ways of dealing with them that mean that you really have to think carefully how much you include in your deck, because they're very expensive.
Right.
If you include too many, you're going to be weak against someone who's planned for it. But if you don't, then maybe you could have done because they haven't planned for it, and it sort of becomes really a poker game almost with your opponent about what you're going to include and run.
Okay, so this is this your second trip to the UK Games Expo?
It's our second trip this year. Last year was all playtest, and we weren't selling anything. We got a whole load of feedback. We met a whole load of great people, including yourself, of course. We did all the demos. And this year, I mean, we partly came back because we've had so much fun. We work in shifts, and people get to go around and see all the other games and stuff, which is great. And then also to showcase the game again. Yeah. We've got a stand that's 3 times as big this year because we wanted to be able to let more people play. And certainly yesterday, when it was busiest, we were absolutely non-stop people playing the game, which is just great for us. We just love to do it and really enjoy what we're doing.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Steve.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Great to see you again.
And good luck with the rest of the expo.
Thanks very much. Yeah. Thanks, guys.